When people saw that recent interview with Prince Harry and the BBC, what you saw actually, many people might suspect, is a look of defiance, somebody who wanted to get his message across and somebody who was really, well, making sure that the world took notice of him. A lot of people don't realise that the timing of this was also really, well, in his eyes, very clever. If you remember, this has recently been the time that the British monarchy have released major statements. For instance, the King's health updates, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, her health updates, always on a Friday. And one would speculate why. Well, of course, at that point, that means that actually you get the message out very clearly. It's the end of a working week. And many people have told me that's exactly the reason why Prince Harry chose to do the very same thing. What a lot of people were stunned about was his choice of broadcaster, given the fact that obviously his elder brother, Prince William, has been more than, shall we say, open about what he feels about how the BBC dealt and behaved and worked with his late mother, Princess Diana. Let's not forget, of course, this was the broadcaster that denied all knowledge of wrongdoing with regarding Martin Bashir. But consequently, Harry went to the BBC. It wasn't a pool thing where you get an option. And as I pointed out, what was fascinating in my opinion was that he should have gone to his chum at ITN, Tom Bradby. That's the guy that really he would have expected to get the role. So why did Harry go to the BBC? Well, let me explain. Morning, chums. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll have a lovely wave. I hope you're keeping well, whatever you're doing. I know a lot of people mentioned the fact that I spotted the guy on the tube with the discount Easter eggs. And they're saying, well, but listen, chocolate's chocolate. You don't mind, do you? As long as it's as long as it's reduced. And as so many of you pointed out, Neil, they're all boxed. Well, they've always been sort of all boxed, haven't they, if you think? But actually, now more than ever, you used to get at least a packet of the original sweets inside the egg, do you remember? Now there's a flavour of it, meaning virtually nothing. So that's why it's always good to buy things. As somebody pointed out, a Yorkshireman will always find a bargain. You're spot on. I mean, you do look around and think, I'm not paying that. Yes. Well, you see, the BBC could be accused of saying the same thing. And as I pointed out, Prince Harry, it's very difficult at this stage in time to work out exactly what were the machinations behind the scenes regarding, was it expenses? Was he paid? What was the agreed deal? Did he give the money away for the interview to maybe some of the charities like Invictus, etc.? One has to have that. But also, let's not forget, given the fact that he now has a 1.5 million estimated legal bill, one might suspect he might need a little bit more cash in hand. Well, the reason, according to the source, was simply this, that basically Harry, and think about this, he could have simply recorded his own message, as he's done so many times to all of his charitable foundations, in his back porch and on his phone. It works perfectly well, like I'm doing with you here, but this is not my back porch. You get the picture. Now, what the reason behind the BBC was simply this. This is sending a message out to the very sort of precarious position with the streaming giant Netflix, who may or may not now continue their deal with Meghan and him. As we know, her, as ever, with Love Meghan, is very dicey. It doesn't matter what Ted says, it's just dicey because the viewers aren't coming in and the pickup is certainly not happening, weeks down the line. Now, the reason for the BBC is quite simple: to prove to the streaming giant and any others out there that wish to partake in the services of Harry and Meghan, the bottom line is, I'm still powerful, I'm still forceful, I can command an audience very easily without any sort of preset around the world. Now, in fairness to Harry, that is true. But what is he actually commanding an audience with? The only thing that Netflix have ever made a return back on, which is gossip, salacious scandal, and attacking his family. And now the bottom line for Harry is he's hoping that that message about, look what I did for the BBC and their brand, will reverberate back to Netflix or potentially other investing people and say, yes, you're worth the money. Again, sticking his neck out for his wife, Meghan Markle. Neil Shawn in the very heart of Yorkshire.